Hi, it's Adi with MHA Media and News, and I'm here with René Silvin. Thank you, René, for taking the time off your day to give me an interview.
It is I who thank you for taking the time and to welcome into our house.
Oh, thank you. And so, why don't you tell my viewers a little bit about what you're running for and what you're about?
So I am running for a seat on the 5-member Town Council of Palm Beach, the city of Palm Beach. There are only 8,500 registered voters in Palm Beach, yet Palm Beach is so well known, in great part because of Mar-a-Lago and the president being here in the winter. But it's always been a sort of a very small town that's known for its safety and its architectural beauty. And so I am presenting myself after having been for 5 years on the Landmarks Preservation Commission, which looks after and designates the historic houses to make them protected. I've been there for 5 years, and now I feel that it's time for me to apply and step up and run for office to be on the town council.
Super, very nice. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your history, about what you've been doing for a living, things like that.
So my career was spent in hospital administration. I'm a hospital administrator by training, but it was fairly early in my career that I went from running individual hospitals to joining with a group that went on the public and publicly traded on the Zurich and London stock exchanges, where we owned a chain of hospitals. We owned and managed a chain of hospitals. So I went from overseeing the management of one hospital to overseeing the management of 30 hospitals that were spread out in 10 countries.
Oh, wow. And what do you think you'll do for the town of Palm Beach? What do you think you'll do for it?
Well, throughout my career, as well as my service on the Landmarks Preservation Commission, I've always been a moderate, and I've always been someone who is interested in bringing two sides of an extreme together. I did that in business, where I was able to set up private hospitals in countries that had public sectors, so you had to develop a cooperation with the government or you weren't going to be allowed to come in. And on the Landmarks Preservation Commission, I have also been able to bring the two extremes of the commission, some people more conservative in terms of architectural history, others a little more liberal. I've been the one who have brought those two sides together.
You're like a peacemaker.
That's what I would like to consider myself as, very well put, a deal maker and a moderate. And I feel that that kind of voice is also needed at the government level of our town.
All right, and to close this interview, I would like to ask you, what do you remember in your childhood that might have brought you to be the man you are today?
All right. Oh, very interesting. What a lovely question. Thank you. So I grew up in Swiss boarding schools, and those were lonely times. I suppose my idea of being someone who was a moderate even began there. Being in a boarding school taught you how to survive at a very young age. And then when I came to Palm Beach, all I could think of was how could I incorporate that kind of thinking. I used to come to Palm Beach as a small child because my mother lived here. And when we would come here, she would say to me, "René, we're going to play a game. I'm going to take you to a famous person's house, a famous house, and I've arranged for either the house manager or the architect to show you around. And in the evening, I'm going to give you a quiz about the architectural history of this house." So from my earliest recollections, Palm Beach's residential architecture became my passion.
Oh, wow, that is an amazing. So, everyone, you have now met René. To me, he seems like a very nice person, a very centered person, and I think that you should look him up, analyze your options, and I really think he is a really good option, and I'm so happy that I was able to meet you and able to interview you and tell my viewers about you. His website will be provided on the website, all social media, as well as an article written about him and some photos that will also be shared on the social media. So thank you, and thank you.
It's been lovely meeting you, and I wish I knew your viewers, but perhaps I will be able to know them through social media.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Thank you.